Good afternoon. Here we are, another week, another segment, and let's get right into things. Before there was the temple, there was a garden. Before the altar, there was a table. Before the sermon, there was the sound of coins exchanged in trust. Today, we gather not to escape the marketplace, but to sanctify it. In Genesis, God walked with Adam in the garden. It wasn't a church, but it was a garden. Um, the creation itself was the first economy, the soil, the seed, the labor, the fruit, the rest, and the abundance. Jesus also did not build a synagogue. He walked among the fishermen, the tax collectors, the merchants. His miracles were economic, feeding thousands. He forgave debts, multiplying by provision. The 5 loaves, 2 fish, great example, you know. And then we have Jesus when he went in, when he cleansed the temple, okay. That's in Matthew 21:12-13. That was a demand for purity and justice. He's saying, my house shall be called a house of prayer. And I wonder, what if our stalls, our ledgers, our receipts were prayers? You know, um, how do I put this? Okay. Proverbs 11:1. The Lord detests dishonest scales, but accurate weights find favor with him. You want God's blessing? Then be honest. Every transaction is a test of character. Every price tag, a covenant. Are we overcharging just because we can, or because we think that the person has the money, therefore, hey, why not? Let's charge extra. You know, are we going to be honest? Are we going to allow God to do our multiplying instead of us doing our own? Are we going to hold our character? The early believers, they shared all their resources. They gave to those that had need. They didn't hoard, they circulated. They did not compete. They consecrated. You know, um, some of us have so many clothes in our closet um, that you haven't worn in years. Well, why not give that away? That's all part of economic. Give away to somebody that has need. Um, that's just one way of, one, we get to bless somebody else. And because we bless, now that gives God the opportunity to bless us. So we need to reclaim our marketplace, not as a place of the hustle, but of a place of holiness. Let every product or service be a parable. Let every receipt be a record of trust and honesty. Let every stall, let every storefront be a sanctuary. No one said you had to build a church with 4 walls and put a cross on it and build an altar in the front and put a pulpit there and the preacher gets up every Sunday. I'm not against that. I'm not saying, oh, let's get rid of the church buildings. I'm not saying that. We need a focal point, and I think church buildings serve that need of getting together. So, and what I'm saying is, may your hands be clean, your scales be honest. Let your heart be generous. May your business be a blessing, your profit a praise, and the labor being your liturgy. And let's let, in particular, Book's point rise, not in just commerce, but in consecration. Sorry, got mixed up with that word. You know, we get so caught up in doing the stuff and trying to survive every day that we forget what it's really about. I mean, really, our lives are so short in reality. I know we're living longer and everything else. You know, I know 80 is the new 60 or whatever. Um, but let's try and take our attitude about business one step further. Um, what is our mission? You know, mission statements, vision statements. Let's take them a little more serious. Let's, um, you know, if we want to see change, it starts with us. It only takes one person to make a major change. You know, I think of Charlie Kirk, even though he's no longer with us, but while he was alive, there's a man on a mission, you know, um, and he was changing so many lives, so many communities, one place at a time, one person at a time. And I think we can look at people like him. Um, was he perfect? Do I agree with everything? No. But his example, the way he lived his life, he was true to himself. So let's try and do that. Um, anyways, sorry for going off like that, but um, we need we need change, and it starts with us. If it doesn't start with us, then who? And I'll just leave that with you to ponder about for the next week. God bless, and see you next week.